Hello class, welcome to week 6, which is essentially our halfway point. What I want to do today is I want to focus in on the things that we'll be doing to set us up for Project 3, now that we're starting to really transition into the work that you'll be doing for your literature review and for your multimodal presentation. First, though, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. As you know, I pushed back the due date for Project 2 to this Wednesday. So by now you all have feedback from me. And generally, I was really pleased with what I saw. The genres analysis is oftentimes the assignment that students struggle the most with because they either focus too much on argument or they don't bring in enough components from the articles or whatever it might be. But for the most part, you guys are all doing the right things. I didn't see any, I really didn't see anything that was alarming or that indicated to me that you guys were really struggling with the assignment. However, if I did make some comments about, about whether you're focusing too much on argument as opposed to the components, hopefully I gave you some feedback that would allow you to kind of bring the essay in line with what the objectives are for the assignment. So if you do have any questions, obviously feel free to email me. Get in contact with me as quickly as possible. We can go over any comments that I left, or I can help you figure out a way forward to kind of make some changes to the essay if you deem that necessary. So what I want to do today is I want to kind of work through our weekly tasks, and then we'll really talk about what this multimodal presentation is, because we're starting to focus in on the kind of component around the elements of that presentation. And so you'll see in week 6 we don't have a ton to do. However, this is a very important week because the research that you should be doing throughout this project is something that will really, this is kind of the jumping off point for all of the literature review work you'll be doing and stuff like that. So let's take a look. So you can see that we've got a couple things to do this week. We've got some reading to do. We've got green mining text and reading to write. And then we also have this YouTube video, which I've linked right here that I want you to watch. So with that, you should also start to go over or reread or continue to find articles from your community. So in Project 2, you started to do this. You found an article that you wanted to work with, that you were interested in. And now I want you to go back and kind of reacquaint yourself with that article, as well as any other articles that you found about that topic, or continue to look for articles about that particular topic. And so what I say here is I say reread your launch text. And what this means is I want you to make sure that you have a good handle on a few of the articles that you found so far, or books if you're going that route, that are all starting to outline different approaches to that topic that you're interested in your community. And so if it's something to do with medicine, for example, gender and nursing, you found a couple articles about gender and nursing, and I want you to kind of reacquaint yourself with those so that we can start to do the literature review work for Project 3. And so in terms of the big research stuff, keep looking for articles that are dealing with that topic. Make sure that you have a good handle on those, that you understand what they're saying, and you start and try to start to identify how each author is approaching this topic differently. And so by the end of the week in blog 4, you'll go into the blog and you'll kind of start to work with these, what we're going to call launch text. And what I mean by launch text is just the articles that are going to be your jumping off point for the project. And so really that's it for this week. It's all just kind of a work week, essentially. There's not a whole lot new that you'll be turning in besides obviously Project 2 because of that due date. And instead it's really a week for you guys just to kind of sit down and to continue to research articles and things like that in your field. That said, if you are still a little bit confused about what Project 3 is after we went over it in the last video or after you've read the assignment sheet, essentially what you'll be doing in Project 3 is you're going to collect a series of articles from your community that all relate to a specific topic, for example, gender and nursing, or whatever it is you're interested in your field. And you'll be essentially summarizing those texts, and then you'll be talking about any connections that you see. How are different authors approaching the same topic? What are some of the similarities or differences in their approaches, right? And so by the end of this literature review, what you'll have is a really clear outline of a particular focused conversation between experts in the field around this particular topic that you're interested in. And so that's what you'll be doing is you're going to start to do that by looking at these launch texts, figuring out how these particular authors are starting to do that. All right, so I want to think about this Ignite talk, this multimodal presentation component of Project 3. So if you've had a chance to look at the assignment sheet for Project 3B, which is the multimodal component, you'll see that what we're doing here is we're just presenting your research in progress. Now what the Ignite talk is it's a focused, structured 5-minute presentation in which you talk your audience through the things that you found, the things that interest you, any surprises that you've come across, or any reactions to your research so far, as well as any overlaps, relationships between authors, etc., that you're already starting to see. Now, once you've watched the video, this would be a little bit more clear, but essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation with 15 to 20 slides, each of which is going to help you communicate, the focus of your research to an audience that is not in your field, in this case to your group members. I will post some examples of this presentation at a later date, but essentially your goal is to just say, look, here's a couple of the sources that I found so far, here's what these sources are saying, here are some connections that I already see. And I want to stress that this is very much a work in progress kind of thing. I don't expect you to have collected all of your research at this point, at the point in which you do your presentation. Rather, if you have 2 or 3 sources, that's enough for this, right? This should not be some finished project. Essentially, what the multimodal presentation does is it functions as a kind of multimodal rough draft for your literature review. It's an opportunity for you to start to talk about these sources. And in order to talk about them, you'll have to be comfortable with them. You'll have to know what they say. And so what students often say is after they've completed this assignment is they're like, okay, now I feel like I'm in a much better place to go into the actual essay portion, the literature review, and to do the same thing there. Just to talk about your research, to talk about connections that you see, to describe the research that you've done so far. And that's what this presentation is. So again, it's a PowerPoint presentation where you're going to talk your audience through a few of the sources that you found, connections that you're making already, and really just to kind of rehearse the work that you'll be doing in the literature review. And so the reason that we do this kind of Ignite talk format is because it forces you to be focused and to be concise instead of, feeling like you have to talk about everything and to keep going. You only have 5 minutes, right? Like that is the genre of the Ignite talk. It is a 5-minute talk in which you present, a stream of focused discussions about the research that you found so far. And so once you've had a chance to look at the video, to kind of, understand what the Ignite talk is, I'll post another video later on this week in which I go over an example, things like that. And so just take this time right now to get acquainted with, the general format of this project. And as you'll see going into next week, I'm going to start to open up the drop boxes for that, and so you'll have the span of a week or 2 to upload your presentation for your group to watch. And again, I want to stress that this is very much work in progress. This is supposed to function as kind of a rough draft for your project, so don't feel like you have to have all the answers or know all your sources and those kind of things. All right, so just to recap then, make sure you turn in Project 2 by Wednesday. If you do have any questions, obviously email me. If you'd like to set up a Skype conversation, I'm available all week. And then really sit down and start to focus in on your research. Continue to look for sources that are, dealing with the topic that you're interested in, and start to think about how you might talk about those in your presentation. Okay, so if you do have any questions or concerns, I am all ears. I look forward to speaking with you guys soon. Look out for another video kind of towards the end of the week in which I go over in more detail this multimodal presentation, and we will get Project 3 rolling. All right, thanks guys.